pentatonic. That's what most of us think of when we hear the term pentatonic. We think of that pattern. Well, what if I told you there's even a simpler pattern that we could play that will gain us access to the pentatonic notes all over the fretboard? That's easier to play, easier to remember, and easier to maneuver across the fretboard. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today on Ray Plays Guitar, and I hope to do it as simply as possible. Let's get into it. This pattern, it's very comfortable, it's so easy, and you've probably played it before because it's part of this pattern here. It's this area right in the middle where we have, it's the strings where we're just using our first and third fingers. It's so easy to play, and it's so easy to remember. Let's see what's going on in this area. In the pentatonic scale, there's only 5 different notes. In a minor context, we have a root, a flat third, a fourth, a fifth, and a flatted seventh. In this little area, this is our root, playing in the key of A minor. So this is the note A. It's the 7th fret of the 4th string. Wherever you have a root, we have a flatted 7th a whole step below it. So on this string, we have a flatted 7th, and we have a root. On the next string, we have a flatted 3rd and a 4th. Wherever there's a 4th, a 5th is just a whole step above. We can slide up to get to it. If we want to stay in position, we can just bend this 4th up a whole step to get to that 5th. So, those are the 5 notes of the pentatonic scale right there. Flat 7, root, flat 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And I didn't even have to move out of position. We can also take this 5th and access it here on the 5th string. It's on the same fret that our root is on, just on this next adjacent string. This is a 5th. We can also access the 4th on that string too. So we have a 4th, 5th, flat 7, root, flat 3rd, 4th, and a 5th. That's all 5 notes of the pentatonic scale, plus a couple of them doubled. There's so much activity that we could do right in this little area. I should also mention, wherever we have a 5th, like here, we could play the flatted 5th, which is the blue note. It's the cool note. Remember, we could play the 5th up here, which means we could play a flatted 5th here. Another way to think about it is wherever there's a 4th, the flat 5 is just a half step above, which also means we can take that 4th and do these really cool bluesy bends with it. You can just bend it just slightly and get a really cool bluesy sound. Same thing goes for the flatted 3rd. When I'm hitting that flatted 3rd, I'll often just put a slight bend onto it. Not a half step bend. Because if we go a half step, then now we're into a major tonality. We don't want that. We want to stay minor, that's it. But if we put a little bend, just a slight bend on that flat 3rd, we get a bluesy sound. And so I consider both the flat 3rd and the flat 5th kind of blue notes that we can manipulate a little bit. Just that slight bend gives it a really cool bluesy feel to it. So let's find an A in another area. Let's play A on the 12th fret of the 5th string up here. Same rule applies. We have these 2 notes here, these 2 notes here, and those 2 notes there. So wherever you have a root, you can play that string and the string on either side of that. Here's another A. Of course, when you go to that B string, we have to do that half step adjustment, always. And a cool way to link these together, you have a root, we have these 4 notes. Once you get to the 4th, slide up a whole step to the 5th. Now you're in position. There's the root again. 4th, slide up to the 5th, back at the root. You can do that starting down here at this A, 5th fret of the 6th string, start on the flat 7th. You're basically playing flat 7, root, flat 3rd, 4th, slide up to the 5th. Once you're in this position, you just go down a string. Do the same thing. Here we go down a string, shift up for the B string. Put that all together. A lot of cool stuff can be done, and I'm really just thinking and playing this simple little box pattern. So the box pattern with the flatted 5th can give us a lot of cool tonalities. Another note that I'll throw in there is the chromatic note between the flatted 7th and the root. Kind of like in this tune. They do that chromatic run right at the beginning. So, we have the flatted 5th between the 4th and the 5th, and then we have the flatted 7th, the natural 7th, and the root, which is kind of cool. Couple techniques that that work really well with this: hammer-ons. Hammer-ons and pull-offs. Hammer-ons and pull-offs come in handy. Another technique that is kind of vital to learn when we're dealing with these kinds of shapes where we're dealing with the same fret on adjacent strings is this technique. We want to sort of get a rocking motion with our finger. We don't want to pick it up and then replant it. I kind of just rock it up. But what I'm doing, I don't rock it. I want to rock it so that it releases the previous note. So you kind of have to plant your finger down in a position so you have enough room and meat left on your fingertip that you can roll up and get to that next note. If I position my finger where I normally play a note and then try to roll up, well, I run out of finger. You know what I mean? So I have to kind of use a different part of my finger. Another way to practice that is to start here, roll down, and then notice where your finger is. That's where you want to start when you're going the other way. Let's hear some of these patterns in context. I'm going to be playing a straight blues jam provided to us by Innkeeper Studio Baking Tracks. I'll have the link of this backing track down in the description for you. another way of taking a look at the pentatonic scale. Hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It really means a lot to me. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. We'll see you next time.